Greetings, peoples. I'm an android. This is Reliquo Uno, my friend. And this is Bytes of Food. And Reliquo here is actually going to be helping me a bit.
Manual labour.
Well, also some expertise. I've only ever made this once in primary school.
It's been years since I've made this.
Probably less years than me. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make the old bushman's classic damper. It's basically a flatbread. When I was looking up the recipe, I was like, oh, this is a giant scone. And if you don't know what a scone is, tell me down in the comments below. I'll just show you how to make scones.
Scones are nice. Especially with like strawberry jam and
Clotted cream.
Yeah, cream. We'll need to do that at some point.
Yes. But yeah, so today you are going to need white plain flour, and because, well, not white plain flour, you can do it with a self-raising flour, easier, but because my housemates and I have very little space in our pantry, we're just sticking with plain flour, and we're going to be adding baking powder to make it self-raising. Pinch of salt, 80 grams of butter. You preferably want this to be chilled in the freezer and kind of solid. I left it out, my bad. You're also going to need some measuring cups and measuring spoons. And if you can, I'm sure you do, but get a mixing bowl. I don't have one, it turns out. I checked the entire kitchen. He can attest. I looked all over. We don't have one. So, I'm going to be making this in Tupperware.
Good old Tupperware.
Yeah. So, first step to making damper is to preheat your oven. So I'm going to turn it on to fan forced.
What is it, 200 degrees?
Yeah.
At 200 degrees?
Fan forced, 200 degrees. And while that is preheating, we are going to prepare our flour. So the recipe calls for
3 cups.
3 cups of flour. And generally, if you're doing a plain flour baking powder ratio, what you want is 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder.
Yep.
If you want to do the baking powder, I'll do the flour.
It's the recipe, or the ratios rather, that we found. If you got your own, use your own.
Yeah. But yeah. This thing actually eats up a lot of flour.
Yeah. Well, it's not a small thing. You're essentially making a bread loaf.
That is true.
Flat bread loaf.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't use yeast or anything, so it doesn't rise, and yet it's still kind of fluffy. Pretty dense, but...
I used to cook these in the Scouts. When you wrap it up, and once you got the mixture together, you'd wrap it up in alfoil and stick it in the hot coals.
Traditionally, Bushmen would also cook this using their spade. They would prepare it all, put it on top of the spade, on top of the...
No, you can bury it too. That's your camping oven, because you dig a little hole, put your hot coals on the bottom, put your damper wrapped in tin foil in, and then more hot coals, and it'll just sit there and bake, much like an oven.
Gooey butter. Alright, and so I'm going to interpret a pinch of salt being a couple of shakes. Like, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
It's a taste, really.
Yeah. No. You're supposed to do this with your fingers.
Do it. Go on, get into it. Cooking is not a clean thing. Oh well, hygienically clean, yes, but you're going to get messy. Because that's the fun bit.
I am a high-functioning autistic. This feels weird. This is not
And
fun.
now's where I tell you could have just shaken the container.
Lick my floury fingers.
No.
Lick it.
No, that's
Lick it.
unhygienic.
I'm gonna wash my hands. Could you please start incorporating the butter? There's a knife here.
Righto. Alright, now.
It's only about 80 grams. And it's a 250 gram block.
Alright, so what's that? Half is 125, so slightly less than half. Should be about 80. Close
And,
enough.
You want to cube that?
You really should have put this in the fridge.
I really should have.
It's all squidgy.
Okay.
This is not getting. Maybe. This is all your fault.
It is. My mistake, guys. I apologize.
It's not gonna cube. It's gonna go mush. So just. I don't care. Close enough.
I'm gonna go for that.
Yeah.
Like it should have been. Now, because this is basically a giant scone, you actually don't want this. You want it to start off being kind of solid so that it doesn't melt whilst it's cooking. Melted butter in a damper is not the best. And basically, what you do is you want to incorporate it.
That's roughly cube volume.
And you want to incorporate it with your fingers, so this is going to not be pleasant. I'm going to speed this up.
You want me to do it?
I was going to fast forward it.
Oh, thanks.
Or clip it. Just so you guys don't have to watch me.
Cringe and mix with your fingers.
It feels weird.
It's cooking.
Just looking like that. Incorporate all of it in.
You want to also just do follow on top and it'll mix it.
So it looks like a whole bunch of bread. So steam fingers. I got one fridge.
Is it? What?
Okay, that's it.
Close enough?
Okay.
Right, what's next?
So you want it to look kind of like that. Now you start incorporating the water.
Want me to do this bit?
Yeah.
I'll get the water and I'll mix it in.
Now, we're missing a quarter cup measuring cup, so
First guess, that's what damper is. Rough. Let's go.
and just pour that in.
Yeah, get it all in. Right, now, whereas before you were just getting all the butter into the bread, into the flour, to get the right consistency, now we're getting into dough territory.
And you add more water as needed, if it's needed. So if it's feeling a bit dry.
It's not too bad. Probably just a little bit more.
Okay.
Not too much. A little bit more than that.
A little bit more.
A little bit.
Yeah. And then move to the side. Then when the dough's all ready, flour up a surface.
Damper is very flexible in what mistakes you can make with it. Nice. Ta-da!
Alright, and there you go. After all that kneading, you get a nice ball like that. Now, what you want to do, I'm gonna...
See? I told you, manual labour.
Hey, he's had experience with it. But then, what you want to do is you want to score some lines along here. So that they are basically pre-cut, so that when it's cooked, you'll have more of a pull-apart surface to it. Then take a pinch of flour, sprinkle that on top, and then you set it into the oven for 30 minutes.
Right. We're going to wait for the oven to hit 200 though first. So.
Because preheating didn't work, but... And after about 50 minutes of fiddling, this thing would not preheat. But yeah, after half an hour in the oven after it's preheated, it should come out looking like this. You of course want to air it and let it cool a bit before you handle it. But not only does scoring it allow you to cook it, but you can sort of break it apart, and as you can see, it's dense, still slightly fluffy.
That's a good mixture, that is.
Bit floury. But we'll try it with some butter. Hot melty butter. Now I put the butter in the fridge.
Got it around the wrong way.
Yeah. Now, just having a bite. Oh.
So that's going to be okay. Trying to find a bit where it'll just...
Wow.
Yeah, just rip. That's still hot. That'll do me. Don't have any crust though. I'll have to fix that in a second.
You definitely want to put a lot of butter on this.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Here.
I'll have another bit in a bit.
Bit of crunch. Bit of the crust. But yeah, it is floury, buttery even without the butter. Dense. This is definitely the sort of bread you want to have with something. This is not something you want to have by itself. This is not a by itself sort of thing. So, in a while, I'm going to have some stew. Some kangaroo stew. I'm going to have it with this. It's going to be real tasty. And I'll show you guys that next week on Bytes of Food. Thank you, Rilla.0. Alex. When in need of manual labor, this guy. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Because I get fed.